What's up, guys? Hope you're doing well. Hey, I want to share a series this year about how God has directed my steps. What I mean by that is, He has helped me lead my life. He's helped me in making decisions, particularly that feel like bigger decisions, that feel like directional decisions that have consequences, that have an impact on me. And I'm trying to decide, should I do this? Should I do that? And I'm praying, God, what do you want me to do? Most often, that's the setting where it happens. Sometimes God directs my steps without me even asking the question, and He just gives a clear, direction, or points me in a clear way before I even knew that there was a fork in the road coming. But other times, it's been more of an evaluation, but landing with a clarity and a piece of what God's asking me to do. And that is a testimony because it's like His word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. That He has plans to prosper us, not to harm us, that He leads us in the way of everlasting. His leadership is perfect, and it's one of the things that I'm most thankful for in following Jesus, is that He is a perfect leader, that He knows where to take me. He knows the right answer. He knows my future and how to get me where He wants me to be. And I want to start with a simple example that is the first, chronologically speaking, example, at least that I can recall right now, that felt like an intentional, prayerful decision-making process where I feel like this is what God's asking me to do. And then He ended up using it to prosper me and not to harm me. And that is in high school, deciding to join the football team. This is pretty funny, really, to think about in retrospect, because not that big of a decision. But for me, it felt like a big decision, and it felt like a spiritual decision. I did not join the football team because I'm a baller. I was pre-pubescent. I was small, light, slow. Like, I was a cross country runner and a soccer player, and that was kind of where my identity lied. And I felt internally this desire, this challenge to join the football team for several reasons of what I felt like it would do for my personal growth, for my well-being. But it felt like, Lord, is this what you're asking me to do? Because if I'm just going to stay in my comfort zone, like, hey, I'm a great, or at least a good cross-country runner, and I'm a great, or at least good soccer player, and if I just did that, like, that would be great, or good, um, but what was drawing me to football was really the spiritual growth element of it, just the team dynamic, the all in-ness of it, and just the multifaceted aspect of it. I remember feeling very drawn to just how difficult it is to say how good X person is at football, because of how many different things are relevant to a good football player: their speed, their agility, their strength, their vision, their leadership, their clutch gene, their just awareness. It's, spatial awareness, a little bit different than vision, but similar. Their ball control, just the touch that they have, and the impact that they have in terms of, like, if you're tackling or trying to break a tackle, just how physical are you from a impact perspective, and also your endurance, and just so many different things that make up a football player. And that's not even getting into specific position groups. And contrast that with running cross country, where it's just like, here's your time, great, here's a 5K, you ran it in 20 minutes, so that's how good of a runner you are. Like, it doesn't matter if you're tall or short, if you ran, a sprint for the first mile and then jogged the last two. Like, it doesn't matter how you get there. that's your number. And I felt like at the time that the football side of things, where there's just so many different metrics, felt to me more analogous to a Christian life, where there are so many different disciplines, so many things that God cares about, so many values in the kingdom. And I thought, man, I could probably mirror a, a, a Christian development and perspective. I could probably learn some more things that would help me in my faith through football than I could through running cross country. And of course, just the team aspect of it compared to it being an individual sport is certainly more similar to living a life a part of the body of Christ. There are a lot of things related to individual sport that, and specifically with running cross country, that I realize now were so helpful as well for my personal development. But I wanted that taste of football, even though it scared the crap out of me, because I knew I've never played football in my life, other than a little bit of two-hand touch in middle school, but not for a team, just like for 10 minutes in recess. So ultimately, it was a prayerful process. I felt like the Lord, invited me to do it, to jump into it. And with that actually came some sacrifice in terms of, I guess, my ego. I don't know, but I ultimately had to stop running cross country, which I was good enough to varsity letter my freshman year of high school. It was not particularly difficult to letter. You had to run 3 miles in 21 minutes or less. So, did that, and, of course, would have been way better as a senior than as a freshman. I also had to quit playing club soccer. So I played soccer for my school, but then I also played for a local club in Houston. So there are a lot of tournaments. You played year round. And, at the time I would have thought I might entertain trying to play soccer in college. But by joining football, I basically had to let that go, to give up reaching my ceiling in the sport that I am best at. And instead, to just be content to play for my high school, have fun playing, but focus on football because it's more than just the sport. It's about what am I going to get out of it as a person, and what is this going to teach me in its, just the similarities to how it's run and the culture of the team. And at least with the coaching, they were just a lot more intentional with the Christian values and the iron sharpening iron and just different aspects of how this can overlap into your Christian walk. The football team was not like this group of holy saints, it was a group of people that played football. That's what it was. So it wasn't like going to church, but if you wanted to take things away from that could apply to your spiritual life, it was there for you. And so I did it. I left the dream of soccer and cross country glory to join a sport that I've never played before, and that I'm the weakest, smallest, slowest person on the team. And God did stuff through it, and I'm so thankful that I played. A couple things that I didn't necessarily know going into it. One is it helped a lot with my insecurity, just having to work out a bunch. I would have never walked into a weight room, maybe in my life, if I hadn't joined the football team. But I had to work out, like you were forced to, within the team. And that safety of I'm here with the team was so helpful for me. I started off my bench press, my max, after 6 weeks of working out twice a day, my max on bench press was 55 pounds. This is spring freshman year of high school. So I'm benching. I'm not even benching the bar. When I started working out, they were getting like the lighter bar for me to bench press with. I was so weak, and I could not have done that. I couldn't have gone into a weight room and been that guy that is that weak. I would have just been the skinny, small dude, and that would have been my comfort zone. for the rest of my life, but because of football, it forced me into working out, and now I love going to gyms. I'm not necessarily a gym rat, but in another world, I wish that I could be if I had the time to commit to that. But um, I got stronger, obviously, and faster, but most importantly, I felt like comfortable to exercise, and it just expanded opportunities for me in terms of health and also just my I guess my consciousness, my self security. I liked myself better post I work out now compared to pre I work out. Also, it helped me bond with my older brother. He played football in high school. He did not play growing up. He was kind of a nerd growing up. He still kind of is a nerd, but in the best way because he's a genius. Um, but he had an impactful time playing football, and so we got to bond over those 2 years that we were both in high school together, and really 1 year in particular that we were both on the team because I didn't play my freshman year. So I'm thankful for that. I'm also thankful for friendships that I made. I'm also thankful that I hurt my back, and when I hurt my back, I had to leave the football team. I couldn't play football anymore. And so going into senior year, I was focusing on basically my Christian life, like what can I do that will matter in terms of my faith. And so I started going to some more church stuff than I was before. I started discipling a guy more intentionally than anything I was doing before. I was the chaplain for the orchestra, and I took BC Calculus, things that I would not have done if I was playing football. And if I had never joined football, I also would not have been doing those things because I would have been focused on soccer and cross country and giving that my all. And if I hadn't hurt my back playing football, I wouldn't have had the experience where God healed my back my freshman year of college, like I shared about in a video earlier this year. And so those are just a few ways that I'm so much better off and so thankful for the experience. But it was a challenging experience, a prayerful experience. And I think maybe the last thing that feels significant is, and maybe it ties to just my own sense of confidence and who I am as a man and stuff like that, but I do feel like the fact that I played football in high school in Texas has been helpful in my freshman year of college through the rest of my life, but especially those 10 years that I'm just coming out of with making disciples, with leading other people. I feel like my grid for leadership is benefited from what I saw in leaders within the football team, and my level of comfort in leading was benefited from that. I also worked really, really hard. Like one summer, I got the hardest worker of the summer award for the football team, which sounds silly, but it's a lot of guys working pretty stinking hard. So to win the one person that won that for the team, like I was working hard, I would not have pushed myself that hard in soccer or in cross country because there wouldn't have been 60 guys yelling at me every day, It's just a different culture. It's intense, and it's hard to express if you've never done it. And what I was trying to say a second ago is that I feel like that's helped me with just having rapport and respect with someone that I'm trying to lead. Of course, these days, it really, no one's just going to tell you like, oh, wow, you played football? That's so impressive. It's not that, but, if you're going to try to lead someone that is on the stronger side of life and you're not, you might not really have respect from them if like you've obviously never touched a weight and that's something they really value. Similarly, like if you're going to lead a guy that's really involved in sports and all you did was cross country and soccer, it's just not quite the same as like football, basketball, lacrosse, baseball, even baseball it can be a little different, but just like something that you it required a lot, and it was like semi a big deal at the time in terms of what it cost you and maybe socially, whatever. Like there's just some type of trust that comes with that, some type of respect. Um, and just a common denominator experience that you can share with so many other people that played this crazy sport, um, at least at some point in their life in Texas. And even if they haven't played, they generally view it as like it's not like, again, it's not like someone's gonna tell you that wow, that's so amazing, but like the football players on any given, like in any given high school in Texas are kind of like more likely to be some of the cool guys or the respected guys in the school because football is so weirdly adored in the state of Texas. And so I was not Mr. Cool by any means, but what I'm saying is, in terms of leading people in my 20s, like to be associated with something that developed me, even if someone didn't play, they probably viewed people that did play as leadery type people or hardworking type people. And so it's still, in some way, I feel like has helped me as a leader. So sorry for being super long winded on a story that's not that interesting to you, probably, but man, it was a hard decision and a very prayerful decision. And I talked about it with a lot of people before I did it, and I wrote about it, I journaled about it. I felt like God said, do it. And here I am, as a 28-year-old, feeling spiritually thankful that I played football in high school. Hilarious. I could probably share a lot of sub stories, but I don't know if they would be very interesting to you. So I'll cut it off there. But lots of cool things Lord did in my heart through that football experience. That's all I got for y'all though today. I will talk to y'all soon. Life is worship. God is love.